Greetings, IB artists. This is Miss A. Today I'm going to be giving you some points to have on your checklist for your extended essay. So the first thing is please state your question clearly and concisely. It has to be directly understood. It is the first impression that your extended essay makes on whoever's marking it. Even if you're dealing with quite a complex subject, the question itself has to be worded in a way that is very clear. If your question reads like it has too much information in it, perhaps you're going into too much detail, or the opposite, maybe you're trying to include too much general information, then simplify it. Get to the core of your subject. This will also help you clarify what it is that you're answering. Again, if your question sounds convoluted or confusing, you have to change it, clarify it, whittle it down to the core subject that you're dealing with. And of course, it's okay to keep editing it as you're writing the essay, because as you're writing the essay, the subject becomes clearer and clearer to you. At the beginning, you may start with a broad idea of what you want to do, but then you kind of, as you're developing your argument, you reduce it to the most important elements of your essay. The second thing is super obvious, but it's really important. Please make sure that you check the spelling, check the grammar, that you have stuck to the formatting rules, that your citations are consistently whichever system you're using. Usually for the arts, it's the MLA system. So make sure that these basic things are in place, because again, if they are not, the impression that you're giving is that it's a sloppy effort. The third thing I'm going to say is make sure that you have actually answered the question. So the question should be stated clearly, and when you're rereading and checking and editing your essay, make sure that you've actually answered that question. Sometimes we can get lost in a subject and we're not really directly answering the question. That's a mistake. Your whole essay should be an effort to answer that question that you have posed. The next thing you need to be aware of is that your essay needs to make sense. The arguments have to be logical. They have to clearly demonstrate your process of critical thinking, which means that everything that you state in your essay should be based on the research that you have done. We are not including our opinions which are based on nothing. We are including our opinions that are based on everything that we have looked at. Every argument has at least two sides, so you've looked at those sides and you are basing your ideas on what you have found, the experts in the field, their opinions, the books that you've read, basically your research. The best way to really gauge whether your arguments are making sense and whether they're stated in a logical, coherent way is to either read it out loud, have someone read it to you, or use the read aloud function in whatever software you're using. Word has it. So make sure that you hear it, because when you hear something, if it's kind of all over the place and you're rambling and you're not making sense, you will hear this when it's read back to you. This is a really good and important way to gauge how successfully your arguments are stated. So the last thing I'm going to say is that your conclusion doesn't have to be conclusive. The subject of art naturally is an open-ended kind of subject. So there won't be black and white conclusions. It is not a science subject. So it's important to know that you may not come down to a very simple conclusion. You may also end up having more questions than answers, and if they're stated logically and make sense, then that's a great thing, because it means that you have really understood and delved deep into the subject. However, it is important to include your own opinion in the conclusion, which is again based on research. So your opinion is important and you should include it, but just remember that it must be supported by all the research that you have used and included in your extended essay. I have got quite a few videos on the extended essay. Please feel free to check those out. In the meantime, this is just a quick checklist to have handy so that you check on these important parts. I hope this has helped. I'm Miss A. Thank you for watching this video and all the best.